Okay, this is our clean warm-up. We're going to start with an active Spider-Man. With this, make sure you drive that hip down to the ground. And once you feel a good stretch, go ahead and twist and reach that hand up in the sky. As you rock back and you swish each leg for each rep, you're going to twist and reach that same side arm up to the sky. And you get into a rhythm here. Push that hip down, reach the hand up. Take your time on this and really feel your hips opening, your chest opening. This is a really good stretch. Some people call it the world's perfect stretch, to make sure you can get everything opened up here before you move into any of the rest of the movements. Go ahead and spin a circle if you feel like you need to. Now we're going to get into a half kneeling position. And we're going to lean back on that back leg, straightening the front leg and flexing the toe up and down, feeling a stretch in our hamstring. We're keeping most of the weight on the back knee, and we're just flexing that toe forward and back, making sure that we get a nice, good hamstring stretch. Switch sides. Again, most of the weight is on the knee. It's not on the hands or the front foot. Go ahead and let your back relax on this. We're stretching the hamstring. This movement of the toe allows a little bit of motion in the hamstring to let us get really loosened up. Now we're moving to a downward dog, and we're going to come down into a push-up. Stretching both those hamstrings. Really push those heels down to the ground on every downward dog, and come down and touch the chest to the ground on every push-up. Exploding back up. Try to keep that core really active throughout this whole movement. Next, we're moving into a Russian baby maker. So you're going to sit in the bottom of a squat, holding the hands forward, really driving those knees out. Grab your toes and lift your hips up to stretch the hamstrings again. Lower yourself down, see if you can hit the bottom of your squat. See how low you can get today. Get a little rock back and forth, bring the hips back up. We're just going to rock back and forth between the bottom of this squat position to a hamstring stretch here. Make sure you try to keep that chest up nice and high, back straight, and then when you come here, you can stretch. Keep lowering those hips down so you can get deeper into that squat. Find that comfortable squat position that you'll be using today. This is a really active position in the bottom of that squat. Don't just relax and let your back do whatever it wants. Really actively engage that back to make sure it's straight by pushing the knees out and keeping those arms up high and straight. Next, we're going to move into a lunge with a vertical reach. Notice I'm reaching with the opposite arm. For front leg forward, I'm going to reach the opposite arm, and then the same side arm, I'm going to reach down underneath my thigh. This is going to stretch the obliques, the lats, and also lengthen the front of that hip of the leg that you're reaching back behind you. As you lunge back, really push that hip forward as you reach up and over. It's going to really help lengthen the front of that hip. Next, we have Cossack Squats. Get in a very wide stance. Try to keep both feet on the ground and lower yourself down. Try to get below parallel on every squat to see you can stretch out the inside of the thigh on every rep. Go ahead and take your time on this. Don't feel like you have to rush on this. You may feel a significant stretch on the inside of the thigh as you go through this motion. Make sure you drive that knee out on every rep. Now we'll move into our next exercise, which we're warming up the upper body a little bit more. With some backward arm circles, reach to the full range of motion, going backwards and forwards, reaching as far back behind you and as far forward as you can. Notice the angle of my palm as I go through this arm motion. This is going to allow our shoulder to get fully warmed up in every plane of motion. Now we're going to get some chest flies. Exchange which arm is above the other. Basically hug yourself and reach back as far as you can to open up the chest. Now we're going to get a backward arm swing. Get a little bit more of a shoulder extension here. Now we're working into a frontal plane arm swing, and this is just working this plane of motion to get our shoulder sliding and gliding in every plane of motion. Now we're getting into more specific movements to practice what we'll be using in our clean before we even grab the barbell. This is just a hip drive with a drop squat. Just a small dip, drive, and then drop into the bottom of a squat. Notice my feet move slightly to find that comfortable position. Now we'll grab the barbell. We're going to do a Romanian deadlift first. Just a small bend in the knee and just hinge at the hips until you feel a slight stretch and come back up. Only go as low as you can with a straight back. If you feel your back starting to bend, you've gone too far. We'll stop here and do a bent over row, get the upper back a little bit more warmed up, moving weight. Then we'll move into a high hang clean pull. This is just practicing that dip, drive, and shrug. This is the end of the second pull of a clean. It's really important to get that vertical movement. Move slightly lower in this clean pull, down to a hang position, just above the knee, and going through the same extension of a high or a hang clean pull. Now I'm moving into a clean high pull, bringing that bar up just below the chin. Make sure you extend the hips and then shrug, and then let your elbows stay above the bar until it comes up to under the chin. Now I'm moving to a hang power clean, working on driving those elbows through and receiving that bar in a full front rack position. Notice how fast the elbows shoot through on this, and then now we'll move into a front squat, keeping those elbows high, working on that squat position, finding the bottom of that squat, and driving out of it. Now we're moving into a hang squat clean, going into more of the full motion, but going from the hang. Notice a jump, shrug, and then drop underneath and into that front squat. Now finally, we'll practice the entire motion of a squat clean. Come down to mid-shin and go. Notice that I'm keeping it slow and controlled until I cross the knee and then move fast. This is going to get you thoroughly prepared to put weight on that bar and be ready to go.